Ladies and gentlemen, I very much appreciate that you invited me to your event, and I thank you for your interest in a non-insurance expert, which is me. And I also want to congratulate the organizers, the Insurance Europe, for the very smart decision to organize this event here in Prague. I'm sure it's better than Paris. And of course, I was born under a lucky star because I can live in Prague, because I'm a Czech woman, and temporarily I spent my time in Brussels. I understand this week is important for insurance industry. There's today's event in Prague, but there is also General Assembly of Insurance Europe's and that of the Global Federation of Insurance Associations. I appreciate these are not easy times for you. Stranded plans, battered ships, bombed out buildings, and unrecoverable debts created by Russia's invasion of Ukraine have left the global insurance industry braced for soaring payouts and protracted legal disputes. And this is another turbulent time coming right after the pandemic, which also was a very difficult time for many of you. In difficult times, politicians like myself have two options. We either tell the truth, so people are not surprised when things happen, or we hide uncomfortable facts, hoping they will somehow magically go away. And I have always been a fan of the first option, even though I sometimes get in trouble for this approach. The truth is that every industry, every industrial and every individual must get used to the fact that there will be no certainty. There will be no predictability. I understand for most of the business people there are not these ideal conditions to grow and develop. But first COVID and now Russia's war of aggression against Ukraine have created this new unpredictable reality in which we have to find the way forward. Our role is to support the businesses, protect consumers, try to mitigate the costs or stimulate investments. So I am, of course, not going to tell you how to run your businesses to maximize the profits, but I can tell you what you can expect from us and what I would like to expect from you. First, you can expect from us a continuation of sanctions policy against Russia. We agreed on the sixth package of sanctions, including the groundbreaking oil ban. I know some sanctions affect you, the insurers and the reinsurers, but it is only right to make Russia pay a heavy price for this war. If we don't do this, then Putin will again think he can get away with anything, like the thought after Georgia or after Crimea. So, as long as Russia won't stop killing people in Ukraine, we will not stop to increase the pressure by ramping up sanctions and by ensuring that the sanctions are not broken or bypassed. And by sending the weapons. I have to emphasize this. Ukraine needs our courage to continue this. Russia's war poses a serious risk to undermine a security architecture in Europe. But we also have faced risks before the war in Europe. We continue to face risks for our democracies and its freedoms. For instance, I have in mind the rule of law. And do not worry, I will not bore you with some abstract or legal concepts. For me, the rule of law means free and independent media that can freely criticize those in power or expose corruption. It means independent judiciary that does not bow under political pressure and keeps other powers in check. It means judiciary that business can count on when a state treats it unfairly. The rule of law guarantees mutual trust in Europe. Trust is critical to our legal system. The same way, trust is crucial to make good business. And I remember a few years ago, during one of my trips in one member state, I was sitting in a rather dark room at a very long table with many business leaders from this country. And they told me, you have to do something. The rule of law has an impact on our business, but we cannot be too loud because we also have to deal with the government. So the Commission has its tools and we will use all of them. But we all have to play our part to achieve our goal, making sure that the rule of law remains a reality. The other issue I wanted to talk to you about is digitalization and the consumer protection online. This is also relevant for you, I guess. The pandemic has accelerated the use of online shopping, including for financial services like insurance. EU consumers need to feel safe and protected, whether shopping on the high street or shopping online. This is why we have proposed earlier this month to review the rules for distance marketing of financial services, including insurance. We want to simplify and modernize the rules to make them fit for today's online world. We also see that further action may be necessary to promote clearer and more transparent clauses within insurance contracts, especially regarding the terms of coverage and related exclusions in case of pandemic or other systemic events. We know, for instance, that since the pandemic, the incentive for consumers to take out travel insurance has greatly increased. Such insurance needs to be properly described so that consumers can make an informed choice. And consumers should not be misled by tricky legal language or abusive clauses. At the end of my speech, I would like to come back to the focus of today's conference and talk to you about insurance protection gaps. Not all risks are easily insurable, and protection gaps persist. For example, the COVID-19 pandemic has shown the limited role that insurers can play during systemic events that hit society on a large economic scale. Unfortunately, there is no quick fix to increase pandemic resilience. In some countries of the EU, catastrophe risk insurance schemes have been established to cover national vulnerabilities like natural catastrophes and terrorism. Such schemes can be a source of inspiration, but it is difficult to see how they can be replicated in the context of pandemic risks or easily expanded to include other systemic risks. We will continue working with the European Insurance and Occupational Pensions Authority to evaluate the changes in the supply of insurance products. For me, this is also a question of consumer protection. Another example of a persistent protection gap concerns the climate protection gap and the insurance of climate risks. The floods and fires in Europe during the summer months of 2021 demonstrated, yet again, the intensifying impact of the climate crisis. While insurers pay considerable compensations, the overall damage for property owners was much higher, with many properties not being insured. Insurance coverage of climate risks also varies considerably between the EU member states. In addition, climate change exposes us to new risks where neither supply nor demand for insurance exists at this stage. For example, we could think of the risk related to severe seasonal water shortage. At the EU level, we think it is high time we talk about it together. We will bring together insurers, reinsurers, public authorities, and other relevant stakeholders to explore solutions to narrowing the climate protection gap. Ladies and gentlemen, I know that the times have been difficult for you, your clients and employees. I cannot promise you that these times will end soon, also because we do not know how much damage Putin will do before he stops. But I promise you that the European Union will have ears, eyes and doors open to listen to your concerns and ideas. We realize we are on the same boat, and it is our duty to support European businesses, including the insurance one. Thank you and have a very good conference.